All right, let's do this.
All right, I'm here with my friend Ben, and Ben, it's been a pleasure to work with you over the past couple months or so. Certainly been kind of a process that you've worked through. I'd love to ask as we get started here in this conversation, kind of what was the situation when you and I first talked that was going on that you really felt like you needed help?
Yeah, so when we first spoke, I had been laid off due to the COVID pandemic. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I had spent a couple of months already just looking for work and getting very little feedback, very few bites on my resume out there. So at that point, I felt that what I was doing wasn't working, and I needed to try something else.
Mhm.
Needed to figure out how to market myself, how to make myself get noticed, so that I could at least start getting some interviews.
Okay, so had you had any interviews during that process up to that point?
I had, I believe, three interviews already,
Mhm.
and it was always just you're a good candidate, but there's someone better suited to the role.
Okay, gotcha. So when you entered into the program and working together, what was the main thing that you were hoping to get out of it personally?
So the first thing I was hoping to do was to be able to get more interviews.
Hmm.
The three interviews I had gotten were three interviews out of probably over 100 different applications that I had thrown out there. So I wanted to get a better hit rate first, and then I also wanted to learn how to interview better
Hmm.
and represent myself better in the interview process.
Okay. And so now let's just talk about what happened, where you're at now. It's been 2.5 months since we first started together. And where are you at now on this journey, and what kind of different experiences and things you learned that kind of helped you get there?
So since we started, I've revamped my resume a couple of times. Had a much better hit rate, so I've had more people contacting me back on the jobs that I have been applying for. I've had more interviews, so I've done five five interviews, I think, with actual company hiring people, and several interviews with recruiters.
Okay.
So the resume work has just helped me get hit more often, and the additional stuff on mindsets and interview prep and how to address certain questions that frequently come up in interviews have helped me represent myself better to make it past the recruiter step and on to actual technical interviews. At this point, I have one solid job offer and another promising interview tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. It's been fun to see some of the progress and the opportunities that have come your way since we first started working together. So I'm curious, Ben, what were the things that were most helpful? Now, you talked about there were a number of different elements that you were able to utilize as part of the program. You were really active in our group coaching sessions. You utilized a lot of the online course resources and tips there on some of the topics that you're really interested in. And obviously, we did some one-on-one work in particular with the resume. What did you find was most important or impactful for you personally?
I think the most impactful part of it was the mindset
Hmm.
work that I did, both in discussions with our group sessions and also through the course material that you provide. So I felt that I was in a very negative mindset when I had started. I felt like I had suffered from a lot of defeat. And even though I try to stay positive, I just wasn't sure. Like, I didn't see a clear path forward.
Mhm.
And the work with mindset coaching and also just getting a better view of like the mindset of everyone else and the situation that everyone else was in, both in the group coaching, but also just in the market as a whole, I think really helped me look at it with more enthusiasm and confidence. And yeah, that's probably the most impactful. But there were many aspects of it that were just small that built upon each other that helped. So resume work, cover letter work, networking. Networking was actually pretty big as well.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you called out mindset as kind of the biggest thing that helped. I doubt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's what you came into, the engagement thinking that you needed. Like, oh, I need help working on my mindset. I think you originally came in thinking, hey, I need an updated resume so I can work on this a little bit better, right?
Yeah, so I'm an engineer. I think about the technical aspects of it. So the technical problems I saw were my resume wasn't getting hits. My cover letter maybe wasn't helping direct people to my resume. And then in my interviews themselves, I wasn't making progress. So I came into it thinking there was a technical solution. And over time, I started to realize that mindset actually helped a lot. And I don't know if it necessarily meant that my resume was getting picked up on more, but it definitely made it easier for me to keep going.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I'm glad that's impactful. And it's one of the reasons why I put that as kind of the foundation of everything we do and the very first thing that we work on and address. So I'm glad that was impactful for you. So thank you for all this, Ben. One final question. What would you say to anyone else who's considering maybe joining this engineering career accelerator program? What would you say?
I'd say that it's very helpful. The help, it maybe isn't exactly what you're expecting, but it helped open my eyes. And I think that anyone who's struggling to either find work or find meaning in their career, who's just looking to grow their career, could find a lot of benefit from this program.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thanks so much, Ben. It's been a pleasure to work with you and exciting to see you land a job and have other opportunities coming your way. And, the progress you've made has been pretty fantastic. It's been fun to watch that. So congratulations.